Hi everyone, welcome back to The Right Response with Rosh, and thank you so much for joining me today in this video where I am going to share with you 5 hacks to make sure you have that better 2024. I've absolutely loved seeing how so many of you are responding to the beginning of the year. You've got your goals, you've got your resolutions, you've got your word of the year, you've got, visualizations that you're doing, and I love them all. But whatever it is that you are planning for the year ahead, my 5 hacks revolve around how you can get more clarity, how you can definitely create those habits that you want to create in 2024, and how you can bring in more joy into your life. So let's get to it. So my first 2 hacks basically revolve around clarity. Now, here's the thing. There is a lot of research out there that talks about how if we are able to have goals, and especially if we can write them down, that's how you can actually make sure you achieve your goals. So it's not just about thinking about it. But here's the thing. Before you write those goals, and before you do that visualization, or before you create that vision board, getting clear on your goals is really important. Now, the first tool I want to share with you is one that was introduced to me by my business partner, Meenakshi Sarup. I hope I get a chance to introduce you to her in one of my future videos. But she introduced to me something called the Wheel of Life that I believe was created by someone called Paul Meyer, who founded the Success Motivation Institute in the 1960s. But correct me if I'm wrong. Now, what I love about this Wheel of Life is that it breaks up your life according to you as a whole person. Because we're not just about work, we're not just about our family and friends, we're not just about the community we belong to, right? And the idea behind the Wheel of Life is about how we can get more balance. Now, the way it works out is that there are many different versions, and I'm just showing you one version of the Wheel of Life. For any Wheel of Life, how it works is that you rate the different pieces of the pie, and then you kind of connect the dots and see if you've got a pretty balanced life. Now, if it looks a little bit like a circle, then chances are that Wheel of Life is moving along quite nicely and it is quite balanced. But if it is a little bit jagged, then maybe we are in for a bumpy ride. So the clarity it gives you is that, okay, so maybe there's some aspects of your life that are going quite well, and maybe there's no need to spend so much of time thinking about how we can better those aspects. But maybe there's, contribution to our community, or perhaps it's our spiritual life that needs a little bit more attention, or maybe it's about spending more time with family or friends. Then you can look at how you can create mini goals or macro goals that can help you achieve better results over the course of the next 2, 3, 6, 8 months, so that you get to celebrate it at the end of 2024. So here's my second hack. After you've done that Wheel of Life, you still may want to have a little bit more clarity about what it is that you want to achieve. Now, for this, I have this wonderful tool that I was taught by Michael Loge, who is a friend of mine, who is a wonderful speaker, author, and he's the author of The Law of Attraction, The Law of Connection. Clarity to Contrast tool works like this. So if you get a piece of A4 paper and you kind of fold it lengthwise, what you need to do then is to just create something at the top which says my ideal ... So it could be my ideal anything, okay? So it could be my ideal family life, it could be my ideal holiday. So I've gone ahead and put my ideal holiday here. Now I'm trying to hide the other parts of it, but basically you can see all I've done is I've created this line, and over here you can see I've written down things I don't want or like and things I do want or like, and you can see that I've written a list. So how it works is that for whatever it is that you are trying to build your goals around, so let's say I want to one of the goals I want to create, having better client calls. So one of the things I don't want and don't like about my current client calls or sales calls or holiday or, family life. And basically you list down every single thing that you can think of in the don't want and don't like section. So literally what you need to do is to just fill up this section. Okay. Once you've done that, you then spend time looking at how you can cancel out this and create the positive version. So let's say when it comes to holidays, right? So I don't want to be late for my flight. I don't want to get a middle seat. I don't want long queues. So if those are the startings of your list, then what I would do is I would cancel out the first thing and, so what do you want and like? I want to be early and on time for my flight. I want to make sure I have a window seat. So basically it's flipping it and making sure that at the end of the day, you're only left with the things that you do want and do like. Now, it sounds really counterintuitive, but I promise you, just dream and dream big and, kind of take it up there. And when you are left with this beautiful long list of everything that you do want and like, it creates this wonderful images in your mind. And, don't be too worried if it doesn't sound realistic. It's more about dreaming and pushing the parts of your goal that you want to happen. And once you have that clarity, then write that goal. And once you have that clarity, then you can know what you can visualize, or you can know what are the images that you want to cut out and put on your vision board. So those are my 2 hacks on clarity: Wheel of Life, as well as clarity through contrast list. Okay. So my 3rd and my 4th hack it's all around habits. Now this I learned from one that I hope to meet one day. His name is Sean Acor, and he is the author of The Happiness Advantage and happens to be the person that was responsible for working with another group of trainers, corporate trainers in the United States, who came up with this workshop called the Orange Frog. And yes, I do train the workshop, and one of the things I love about that workshop is the way it teaches you how to build habits. So my hack number 3 is this: if habits are one of those things that you're building in as part of a system to make sure you achieve those goals, then keep these 2 in mind. So the first is something called the Zorro Circles. Now the Zorro Circles actually comes from the movie Zorro, which had Antonio Banderas in it, and I believe Anthony Hopkins. And there's a scene where Antonio Banderas' character is learning how to be skillful. What Anthony Hopkins' character does is that he trains him to do it within a small circle, and then he expands the circle, so the skill gets better, and then he expands the circle. If we want to create a habit, like say for example exercising, then maybe setting a goal of exercising 45 minutes a day for 5 times a week might be quite overwhelming, and sometimes it can set us up for failure. But if we decide that we're going to start for the first 2 weeks, we are only going to work out for maybe 5 minutes 2 days a week for the first 2-3 weeks of the month before we move on, and we start growing our circles, right? So we start off with only 5 minutes, then we go on to 7 minutes, then we go on to 15 minutes, and then we increase the time. So it's about chunking down and then slowly building ourselves up so that we start making sure the habit becomes a routine. For example, for myself as well, one of the things that I know is that I want to build the skill and habit of journaling. And I've read a lot about it and, also watched a lot of videos about morning pages. But it's still overwhelming for me right now to do that. So all I've done for the last 1 week is to write 1 page a night where I just write the highlight of my day. Okay. And again, this idea popped in to my head because of some video I watched. Can't remember where, but it's an idea that's been floating in that mind of mine for a few months now. So that's what I've been doing. Baby steps. So what's the fourth hack when it comes to habits? Well, it's about the 20-second rule. Now, the 20-second rule basically works like this. If you can make something easier for you to do and minimize the time to get to something, the chances of doing it is there. Or if you want to stop a habit, then making sure that it's longer than 20 seconds to get to something, to doing it, then you can break the habit. So let me give you some examples. The one that Sean Aker talks about is how if you want to exercise, then, following the 20-second rule would be maybe going to bed with your gym clothes on, having your gym shoes right by your bedside so that you can put it on and you can just walk out of the room as soon as you wake up and go exercise. So for me, my 20-second rule would be to make sure I have my journal right next to my bed so that I can capture my one page every night before I go to bed. There's one more thing I want to share with you about the 20-second rule. If you want to break a habit, you can just make things a little bit more difficult. I want to share with you something a participant of mine shared with me. He wanted to break the habit of coming back home and plonking himself in the sofa and turning the TV on, and that being the first thing he does as soon as he comes in. So with his wife's help, he said, look, can you please take that remote control, put it far away from me so that as soon as I come in, I am not turning the TV on immediately, right? And you know what? What's happened for him is that not only does he come in and he just takes a little bit of time to take a deep breath, to have a bit of a conversation, it's created a new habit where he's down on the floor playing with his young kids, for a good 30-45 minutes before he starts getting ready for dinner. So it can work either way. So for my fifth hack, which is how can we bring in more joy into our lives? This is something I've been doing for a long time. And again, this is something from Sean Aker. And at the beginning of every year, I look at my calendar and I look for places and times in the year that I can block off time. And I actually mean block off. I love color coding my calendar. So I actually block off, sometimes it can be 2 weeks for a long holiday, maybe sometime in the middle of the year. Sometimes it's just, one day where I just have time to maybe catch up with a friend or maybe go do things like do a mani-pedi or maybe have a massage. And other times I have little mini weekends that I've planned, to do with my family. And again, it doesn't mean that you have to spend lots of money. It could be just making sure you have time for yourself, maybe to just, take some time to go watch a movie, have brunch somewhere in town and just having a little bit of time to yourself. There's something interesting that happens when the brain has things to look forward to or a break to look forward to. It almost gives you a joy. For those of you who are older, if you remember the times when we used to be able to record our shows, and if we were following, a series, and, we're so excited. We're really looking forward, right, to that, to watching that episode as soon as we get home. There's something about having things to look forward to that brings a little bit of joy into our lives. So if you haven't done it yet, this is my request to you. Go look at your calendar. Go find some space to block off a couple of days or maybe 2 weeks where you can already decide, that this is a time where you're going to have a break. And you know what? If you can just at least, maybe apply for leave if you can, and maybe spend some time playing, thinking about what you could do with the 2 weeks. That's a great way to bring joy into our lives, whether it happens or not, but, have some fun with it. And when your brain has something to look forward to, as I said, brings you lots of joy. So there you have it, 5 hacks that I hope you will use to help you have a better year, to make sure that those goals get done, to make sure that those habits get formed, or maybe just to bring that touch more joy for your 2024. So with that, I will leave you and look forward to seeing you back here again at my next video. Take care.